The battle between Dingles and Tates continues, and Kim is conflicted by her feelings for Graham. It's Scooby-Doo meets soap opera in Emmerdale next week, as a classic Dingle decoy is used against Joe Tate, Ned Porteous, when Belle, Eden Taylor Draper, makes off with the eponymous farm's cattle. She'll probably get away with it too, if it isn't for those meddling Tates. Cain, Jeff Hordley, is still deeply troubled by his various woes, and after a sad meeting at a support group for cancer patients, he hits the bottle. A special two-hander episode follows, and Charity, Emma Atkins, gets more than she bargained for when he tries it on with her, and soon realizes that he's actively working against himself. Elsewhere, Carrie Wyatt, Laura Norton, is stunned by Jai Sharma's, Chris Bisson, behavior, and Kim Tate, Claire King, is forced to confront some underlying feelings for Graham Foster, Andrew Scarborough. Here's everything you need to know about the episodes of Emmerdale airing between. Joe twists the knife on Robert and Aaron by blackmailing them with a devastating move. He's sold their cattle herd, which wasn't even included in their lease. Robert is left with little choice but to stand aside as Joe pushes ahead, though Aaron's heartfelt reminder about everything their family has fought for steals Robert's determination to keep the farm alive. Mackenzie and Matty soon reveal they've secretly been helping Sam keep the Dingle farm dream afloat, but Joe's plan to sell the herd threatens to ruin everything. Cain remains fiercely determined to make the farm a success, yet when Mac reports that sky-high prices mean they can't afford a full herd themselves, he's devastated. Matters spiral when Sam forgets a crucial meeting about the farm machinery, prompting Cain to resolve that the farm dream is over, before storming out. That night, a hooded figure creeps onto Emmerdale Farm under the cover of darkness. Robert and Aaron are blindsided when Matty breaks the news that the cows have vanished. Joe immediately points the finger at Robert, convinced he's orchestrated the theft. Despite Robert's protests, Joe and Graham head out, certain they know exactly where to find the culprit. When Joe confronts the Dingles, they smugly deny any involvement. However, on a country road, Belle leads the animals. Panic sets in when Cain rings to warn her that the tracker is still attached to the bull, and as Joe barrels down the country lanes following the signal, he's left stunned when his pursuit comes to an abrupt halt with thanks to a carefully placed Dingle decoy. Determined to strengthen her grip on home farm, Kim makes a bold move by hiring Ross as her new director of operations, essentially installing him as her personal security chief. The alliance immediately sends shockwaves through the house, particularly with Graham, who wastes no time warning Ross to stay well away from Dawn. Ross, however, revels in his new role, smugly boasting that he's now Kim's extra muscle. Later in the week, Dawn can't help probing Kim about her complicated history with Graham, pushing her to admit whether there are still feelings lingering beneath the surface. Carrie is left gobsmacked when she's unexpectedly summoned to Caleb's office to receive a sharp dressing down from Jai. Keen to keep their secret closeness hidden from Caleb, he overcompensates by coming down hard on her in front of him. But his overly harsh approach only fuels Carrie's fury, leaving their already complicated secret relationship teetering dangerously close to exposure. Cain returns from a pre-op meeting in a guarded mood, quietly slipping a leaflet out of sight before anyone can question him. Sarah later urges him to attend a surgery support school for Moira's sake, but when a fellow attendee begins complaining about how illness has affected their relationship, Cain rushes out. Concerned by his behavior, Charity follows him home and presses for answers. She's alarmed by how quickly he's downing whiskey, and she urges him to take care of himself. Cain lashes out, hurling the bottle and accidentally smashing Zach's tankard. When Charity refuses to back down, he finally breaks, admitting he feels like he's failing to hold Moira's life together while she's in prison. Desperate for any escape from the crushing pressure, Cain suddenly makes a move on his ex as they reminisce about their past. Fortunately, she can see the pain behind it and realizes exactly what he's trying to do. The sale of Butler's farm had lit the fuse. What had once been Dingle land was now under Tate control, and Joe wasted no time asserting his power. Installing Robert Sugden as tenant had already shaken the village, but Joe wasn't finished. Not even close. His latest move, cruel, calculated, and devastating. The cattle herd, vital to the farm's survival, had been sold. When Aaron Dingle found out, his heart sank. "This isn't just business," Aaron said quietly. "This is war." Robert clenched his jaw, fury burning behind his eyes. Joe had crossed a line, and yet legally, there was little they could do. For a moment, it felt like everything they'd fought for was slipping through their fingers. But Aaron refused to let that happen. "We don't give up," he told Robert firmly. Not now. Not ever. Elsewhere, the Dingles were clinging to hope. A new farm. A fresh start. A future. Sam Dingle, with quiet determination, had been working behind the scenes with Mackenzie and Matty to keep the dream alive. But reality hit hard. Sky-high cattle prices meant they couldn't afford a herd. Not even close. When Mackenzie broke the news, Cain's face fell. For a moment, he said nothing. Then quietly, "It's over." The final straw came when Sam forgot a crucial machinery meeting. A simple mistake. But to Cain, it felt like the universe itself was conspiring against him. "The farm dream is over," he roared, storming out. Behind the anger was something deeper. Fear. Pain. And the crushing weight of everything he was losing. The night raid. Darkness fell over the village. But while most slept, someone was moving. A hooded figure crept onto Emmerdale Farm. Silent. Focused. Determined. By morning, chaos erupted. "The cows are gone." The news spread like wildfire. Robert and Aaron were blindsided. Joe, however, was already pointing fingers. "Robert did this," he snapped. But Robert stood his ground. "I didn't take them." Joe didn't believe him. And he wasn't going to let it go. Out on a quiet country road, Belle Dingle guided the cattle forward, her heart pounding. It had been her idea. A classic Dingle move. Bold. Risky. Brilliant. But then her phone rang. "Cain. The tracker's still on the bull," he warned. Panic surged. Behind her, headlights appeared. Joe. Closing in. Joe's car tore through the narrow lanes, following the signal. Victory was within reach. Until suddenly, nothing. The signal stopped. He slammed the brakes, stepped out, and realized he'd been fooled. A Dingle decoy. Joe's face darkened with rage. "This isn't over," he muttered. Back at home farm, Kim Tate was fighting a different battle. One that had nothing to do with land or power, and everything to do with her heart. Her connection with Graham Foster was complicated, messy, dangerous, and impossible to ignore. When Dawn pushed her for answers, Kim hesitated, then admitted the truth. "I don't know how I feel," she said quietly. For Kim Tate, that was as close to vulnerability as it got. Determined to maintain control, Kim made a bold decision. She hired Ross as her director of operations, her enforcer, her protection. The move sent shockwaves through home farm, especially for Graham. "Stay away from Dawn," he warned Ross. Ross only smirked. "I answer to Kim now." Elsewhere, another relationship was on the brink. Carrie Wyatt and Jai Sharma had been playing a dangerous game, and it was about to explode. When Jai publicly dressed Carrie down in front of Caleb, she was stunned, humiliated, furious. Later, she confronted him. "What was that?" "I had to," Jai insisted. But the damage was done. Their secret was hanging by a thread. Meanwhile, Cain's world was unraveling. After a harrowing cancer support meeting, he couldn't take it anymore. He walked out, straight to the bottle. At home, he poured whiskey after whiskey, trying to drown the fear. That's when Charity Dingle found him. "You need to stop," she said gently. But Cain snapped, throwing the bottle, shattering Zach's tankard. "Everything's falling apart," he shouted. Charity refused to back down. She pushed him, demanded answers. And finally, he broke. "I'm losing everything," Cain admitted. "The farm. Moira, myself." His voice cracked. For the first time, the tough, unbreakable Cain Dingle looked fragile. Then, in a moment of desperation, he leaned in, toward Charity. A kiss. Not out of love, but escape. Self-destruction. Charity froze, then gently pushed him back. "I know what you're doing," she said softly. "And this isn't the answer." Silence filled the room. Cain looked away, ashamed, lost. For a moment, it seemed like everything might collapse completely. But Charity stayed, because beneath the anger, she saw the truth. Cain wasn't trying to hurt anyone. He was hurting himself. Across the village, tensions were rising. The Dingles weren't backing down. The Tates weren't letting go. And Joe, he was already planning his next move. Because for him, this wasn't just about land. It was about power, control, and winning at any cost. As the dust settled, one thing was clear. Nothing would ever be the same. Families were fractured, alliances tested, secrets exposed. And with every passing day, the stakes grew higher.